The only man to talk any sense is Stormont, Mr. Jim Allister. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be with you in Ballyclare tonight. As unionist voters and people, I think the first thing that you're entitled to from your politicians is honesty. Sadly, it's been in short supply in recent months. Anyone who tells you that our place has been restored within the United Kingdom is either themselves deluded or prepared to lie barefaced to you. Because make no mistake about it, Northern Ireland's position within the United Kingdom has never been weaker than it is tonight. And why is that? Because of the iniquitous protocol. The protocol of which not one word has been changed. The protocol which still puts upon us an Irish Sea border partitioning this United Kingdom. A protocol which still subjects this part of the United Kingdom and this part only to hundreds upon hundreds of foreign EU laws. How can you say your position has been restored as an integral part of the United Kingdom if you're subject to foreign rule, not British rule? We are now in a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where vast swathes of our law, touching upon our economy, our trade, our agri-food industry, our laws not made in Stormont, not made in London, made by a foreign parliament in Brussels. You cannot be so governed and at the same time be an integral part of the country which has surrendered sovereignty over you to that foreign power. That is the essence of the protocol. It takes Northern Ireland and sets us apart, leaves us within the EU's economic orbit, leaves us within their single market, leaves us still under their customs code. Why does that matter? Let's just take the customs code. The customs code decrees. That's the code that governs trade with the EU. It decrees that GB, having left the EU, is a foreign country. But Northern Ireland, being still under EU law, is EU territory. It's as stark, it's as constitutionally disastrous as that. That GB, in terms of our trade, is a foreign country. Therefore its goods must be checked. There must be tariffs. There must be restraints. Why? Because those goods are coming from outside the EU into the EU. Because that's how we are regarded. And that is why there is that iniquitous border in the Irish Sea. To create the circumstances where it's manifest and obvious and practically clear that GB is a foreign country as far as they are concerned, and that we are their territory. And that is the ultimate constitutional affront as far as we are concerned. And then it's much worse than that, ladies and gentlemen. And this week has demonstrated beyond doubt. We were told by the DUP, we were told by the Tory government, oh, the Windsor Framework only applies to trade. Bad enough. This week in the High Court, we had it writ large that the protocol applies to a lot more than trade. It now applies to anything that Article 2 of the protocol is capable of touching. What is Article 2? Article 2 is that which says that if you're in Northern Ireland, citizen or not, you're entitled to the same rights, the same laws as everywhere else in the EU. And if the EU has, and it does, a special law relating to asylum, then it is the EU's law on asylum, not the British law on asylum, which will apply. That is why the court has ruled that anyone in Northern Ireland cannot be subject to the Illegal Migration Act of the United Kingdom Parliament or to the Rwanda scheme, because they have rights of the EU which protect them from being removed out of Northern Ireland. And so now we see that that border is now to be a people's border. It's now to be much more than a trade border. And you mark my words, this protocol is inexorably moving to the total detachment of Northern Ireland from the United Kingdom. It's already doing it in trade. Now it will do it on asylum and migration. And before long, you will have that physical, actual people border in the Irish Sea. And of course, that fits entirely with the intent and the purpose of the protocol. And that intent and the purpose of the protocol is to create an all-Ireland. First of all, through creating an all-Ireland economically. And it's well on its way. Because the trade laws, the single market rules, the rules that govern our goods economy, that govern our agri-food economy, those EU rules, the ones I referred to, not made in the United Kingdom but made in the foreign parliament, they are precisely the same laws that govern the same issues in the Irish Republic, because they're in the EU and we're subject to those same laws. And that is how an all-Ireland economically is being created by the protocol. And that is the evil genius and intent of that protocol. And I repeat to you, despite all the venom and all the pretense and all the lies, not one word of that protocol has changed. So not one aspect of the constitutional detriment of the protocol has been removed. We are being towed out of the United Kingdom by this protocol. The protocol tugboat is taking Northern Ireland first through its trade, through its economy, now through a vast vista of legislation, and aligning us dynamically with the Irish Republic. And anyone who knows anything about politics knows that it's a very short step from economic unity to political unity. And that is the purpose and end goal of this protocol. Now, of course, they've sought to dress it up. They've given it a refit, this protocol tugboat. They decided we would rename it. We will rename it the Windsor Framework. The Windsor Framework didn't change a word of it. Still the same protocol. And then they decided, oh, we will really do it this time. We will give it a new paint job. We'll paint it up. Put a little red, white and blue on it. And we'll rename it. And we will laughingly call it Safeguarding the Union. And we'll get a new crew. We'll get First Mate Gavin standing in for Captain Jeffrey. And they will tell us the Union is safe. sadly, you could not, should not believe a word of that. Because the fundamentals that have assaulted our position in the Union, that have driven the border in the Irish Sea, that have put the trade disparity, that have subjected us to those foreign laws, all of that still irrefutably stands. And what an indictment, and what an insight into what the protocol has actually achieved. The protocol, ladies and gentlemen, achieved what the IRA was unable to achieve. For decades, they sought to bomb and bludgeon and murder to remove the border. They weren't able to do it, but along comes the protocol and pushes the border to the Irish Sea. The protocol achieved what the IRA failed to achieve. And that should be a wake-up call to each and every unionist as an indication of just how perilous our constitutional position has become. And faced with that, let's be very clear. If unionism rolls over as you're invited to by the DUP, then this union is over. Never again will we be a full part of the United Kingdom. Because you cannot accept condominium status whereby you're part ruled by the EU and partly in the United Kingdom and say you're an integral part of the United Kingdom. But sadly for some who stood with us in these rallies, some who were as bold and as straightforward as I am being with you tonight in telling you of the perils of the protocol, they have now somersaulted to be protocol implementers. And every one of them has to answer for their deeds. And where they answer for their deeds is at the ballot box. People lament division in unionism, and so do I. But let's identify who the dividers of unionism are. Unionism on this seminal issue of the Union Dismantling Protocol came together, stood together on a platform. And that platform was that articulated in the joint declaration of all the unionist parties on Ulster Day 2021. What did it say? We all signed it. It said that we collectively had an unalterable position. What does unalterable mean? Has an unalterable position that we reject the protocol, its mechanisms and its structures. What are its mechanisms? The Irish Sea border, the application of EU law, getting Stormont to be the protocol implementers. Those are the mechanisms and the structures. Those who tore up by their actions that joint unionist declaration, they, ladies and gentlemen, are the dividers of unionism, and I will carry none of their guilt going forward. And those of us who will not wilt, we continue to stand, for we can do none other. To me, to those of us in this platform, the future of our province as a proper part of the United Kingdom is so much more important than the bubbles of office in Stormont. And we have been left not just with the ignominy and the infamy of EU rule, We've now got the infamy of Sinn Féin rule. That was the price. That those who were prepared to sell their principles, those who were prepared to tear up the Joint Unionist Declaration, that's the price they were prepared to pay. That is the basis upon which they will be judged in the next election. Thank you very much.